In this tutorial for Team Yankee, I'm going to discuss unit morale, like who has to test, how you test, and some special situations that may occur with unit morale. So the first thing I want to cover is who does not have to take this unit morale check, and then I'll go through who does. So basically who does not is your HQ units. So if we go to BMP HQ, they will not have to take a unit morale check, and neither will this tank commander for tank battalion. So your HQs never have to take a unit morale check. Now there will be a special situation where they may be affected by a unit morale check, and I'll go over that in special situations. So let's discuss who would have to do a unit morale check. So I'm going to start with some infantry, and I'm going to throw their transports out here because I need to talk about both these. Now they would be considered separate units for unit morale purposes. You look at the infantry different than you do these. So infantry, whenever they get down, say 2 of them got killed, and it's down to 2 or less, they have to take a unit morale check. If they pass, they won't have to take another one until another one is destroyed. Then they're going to have to take another one at that point. Now you take it at the end of the shooting phase or the assault phase, at the end of those phases. Not every time, like, oh, they just got shot down to this, let's take a unit morale check. No, it's after the step is over, the shooting step or the assault step, whichever gets them down to 2 or less. Now, since these are 2, tanks are a little different. They have to get down to 1. Now, tanks, it's a little different also. Men, it's when they're destroyed. You're going to look at how many. This one's a little different. It's not only which ones are destroyed. So I'm going to destroy one of them. So this one got destroyed. You still have 3. And then we're going to take one that is bailed out. They are non-functioning. So you only have 2 functioning tanks here. So this is still what's called in good spirits. They are not in good spirits. So they're in good spirits, so they can keep going. They don't have to take a unit morale check. And somehow another one gets bailed out. Now they're down to 1. They will have to take a unit morale check at the end of that step. If they remount, they're fine. Now do not count bogged down. If they're bogged down, it does not count against them. There's still 2 tanks working here. It's only bailed out and destroyed that you count against them. So that's a little tricky situation there. Now, as far as also what you count is they have to be within 6 inches of their unit leader. So let's say this is the unit leader, and we have this here, and then we have this guy way over here. Well, he's not within 6 inches of his unit leader. There's only 2 here. They are not in good spirits. They will have to test. It failed. They're going to leave. Same thing here. What if this was the unit leader and this one was bailed out, so that counts against them. But this one's still functioning, but it's over here. Well, if that's their unit leader, not within 6 inches, they will have to take a test. If failed, they will leave. If they are bailed out and they fell, you mark them as destroyed. So if they fell, infantry fell, just take them off the table. Tanks, you destroy them, you leave them on the table as destroyed if they're bailed out. If they're not bailed out, you just remove them, like infantry. Another thing is, if, let's say this is the unit commander, and I'm going to put these guys like this one over here, and this one's still working, okay? And this one gets destroyed. Well, he can't transfer over to that, let's say they're too far away or whatever. So they have no unit leader anymore. They are not in good spirits, even though they have 2 tanks. So they have to have a unit leader to stay in good spirits. So keep that in mind. Now let's throw this special situation out. And let's say this one's bailed out. So this guy, this unit's not in good spirits. Here's their unit leader. This one's bailed out. These are destroyed. So bailed out counts as destroyed basically for unit morale purposes. So this HQ unit joins them, or an independent team joins them. Now you got two. Any unit that joins them, you cannot count. They're still not in good spirits. So don't count any unit that joins another unit to try to up your numbers for that. So those are basically the situations you're going to make a test in. Now, how do you make that test? It's really, really simple. So first, let's go to this infantry here. And you basically go to morale. 3 or higher, they still stay in the game. 1 or 2, you remove them. We've got this one, morale 3. Same thing. If they make it 3 or higher, they're in the game. 1 or 2, if they're bailed out, destroy them. If they're not, remove them. And aircraft, if they fail, and they're the same as tank units, if they get down to 1, they have to do their check. 3 or higher, they're okay. 1 to 2, they are removed from the game. Now, I will say, be careful, because some countries have better morale. This one has a morale, or worse, could be worse. This one has a morale of 4. So this Abrams are going to have a tougher time making that morale check compared to the T-72s. So be very, it's not everybody has morale 3. Some have morale 4, some may have morale 5, who knows, you know. You have to definitely look at the unit and their card. So if they pass, keep them on the table, they're fine. If they fail, they are either removed or destroyed. Now let's get to these special situations. So I'm going to remove everything. So there we go. So I've got these tanks, and let's say there was 2 of them, and I'm going to throw the HQ unit out here. So he's an independent team, basically. He's not part of this unit. This one gets destroyed. It's the end of the shooting step. They're down to 1 functioning tank. They're not in good spirits. Have to make that morale check. And the Soviet player's not wanting to lose this tank, because maybe this is on the objective or something, and this one's not quite on the objective. Keep it in there. If it survives, they win. So what this HQ unit can do is join, and then they can use his morale number. Well, let's see if that's going to help. So the regular T-72 has a morale of 3, but they can use the HQ, which is a morale of 2. So as long as they don't roll a 1, this is still in the game. So let's see what happens. Still in the game. He would have made it otherwise. If rolled a 2 and he wasn't joined them, this one would have gone. Roll a 1, now you're in a bad situation because they both will leave. That's if you join them and they fail that morale check. Remember, he doesn't count towards upping the number. He's never in good spirits or bad spirits. He never tests, but he never alters as far as how many tanks in the unit either. So if they make it, fine. If they fail, they are both gone. And you've lost your formation commander, which can be very bad when you have to do formation morale checks. Now, there is a special situation I want to cover with transports and their infantry. Again, we have to count them as separate. And what I'm going to do is I'm just going to put those 2 out here, and we'll just do this. So this tank, let's just say it gets bailed out just for the ease here. So let's bail it out. So we have 1 in good spirits, but we have these men. Remember, we don't count them as part of this. We look at them separately. So we have to look at this. They have 1 tank, so they're not in good spirits. So they'll have to make a morale check, a 3 or higher, and they fail. So this one's going to run off. This one's going to be destroyed because it was bailed out, so it can't run off. The guys just jump out of the tank and run. What about the infantry? Well, this is their transportation. So if it's gone, they are still left on the table. They still go on, and that's how we do it. Now, let's reverse the situation. So I'm going to put this back. And now they're down. They have to make their check. And, oh, I made it. They fell. They are attached to them. These are their men. this is their transportation. If they're attached to these infantry and they're removed, they are also removed. So if the transports are removed, they're going to stay. However, if they are removed, their attached transports are going to be removed. And if we look at their card, so this is that motor rifle company. If we look at their card, this tells you their BMPs they're going to have. So they have 4. So if these 4 and 3 teams are gone through a unit morale check, so will these BMPs. But the BMPs are destroyed, they will still stay in the game. So be careful of that strange kind of situation with transports and infantry. Now, let's say the infantry are in this, and this one gets bailed out. Now the infantry are in here, so let's say we've got these 2. I'm just going to put them down here for purposes, or in that one, and these 2 are in that one. Okay, so they're being transported around. They're inside there. This one gets bailed out. This one is okay. Well, they got to do their unit morale check not for them, but for them, and they fell. They can dismount before the transports leave. They dismount out. These are then removed while this one's destroyed, of course, because it's bailed out. So let's destroy it just to keep consistent. There we go. So men in transports can jump out of the vehicles before the vehicles are removed or destroyed when it's a unit morale check. Now we're going to cover a totally different situation. These same men are in these hinds flying around. So they're flying around and up there, and one gets destroyed, removed. Well, these guys are gone for the rest of the game. Because they're up in the air, they're not going to be able to parachute down or anything like that. So if they're in the transport and it gets destroyed while it's flying, boom. This one's left, and they need to do a unit morale check, and I'm rolling awesome today. Fail. Just like the BMPs, it's going to be removed. Well, these men are flying up in the air. The helicopter has not landed, so they are also removed from the game. They do not come back. So be careful when transporting men that are flying around. If they get destroyed or fail a unit morale check, the men inside are also removed for the rest of the game, unlike if they were on the ground. This gets destroyed, or they fail a unit morale check somehow. Let's say one gets destroyed here, and this one's still up, and they fail a unit morale check. They're going to disembark, and then this will be removed from the game. So flying transports can be dangerous for your infantry. All right, the last thing I want to cover is sole survivor. This infantry unit was decimated down. He made his formation morale check, but he's by himself. He's by himself. He's the only one left in the unit. This does not apply to tanks or aircraft. It only applies to infantry. Every turn in the starting step, before you check formation morale, they have to take a unit morale check. Whether they got hit, injured, or anything else, no matter what, at the start of your starting step, unit morale check, he's okay, he's still going to be in the game. It comes back to your starting step next turn, before you do formation morale check again. If you ever fail, they're removed from the game. So every turn, you're going to be doing that check until they leave or the game is over. So it's not really written down here, but it's something to keep in mind when you're down to your last infantry. And that's basically about the unit morale.